Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Toolsday. Today I thought we would talk about a tool that isn't necessary, but once you have it, you're gonna love it, so let's get into it. All right guys, so at this point in my career, I am always getting excited over niche tools, those tools that you don't necessarily need to buy if you're a DIY guy, if you do minimal trade work or whatever, but since I do it every day for my job, I'm always looking for ways to make it more efficient, more enjoyable, and less taxing on my body. So what we're gonna do is talk about the M12 Rivet Gun from Milwaukee. They did send this to me, but once again, I get a lot of tools. I'm gonna talk about the ones I love, and I know you guys are gonna love too. So you maybe have seen this before. This is just a hand rivet gun, or not even a rivet gun, it's just a hand rivet tool, and it's gonna pull rivets for you with manual labor. Now, if you only have to do 1 or 2 rivets ever in your life, or once a year, whatever, this is probably gonna be perfectly fine for you. But I do run into some standing seam roofs, trim details that you don't want to put a screw in specifically, and that is where rivets come into play, and that is where this gun made me super happy. So this is the M12 Rivet Gun from Milwaukee. It runs off the M12 battery platform. It'll pull a 3/32, a 1/8, a 5/32, and a 3/16 rivet, steel, stainless steel, aluminum. It'll do those all. It's about a $199 bare tool, so it's definitely not something you're just gonna run out to buy in order to put a couple rivets in. But if you do it all the time, if you do body work, if you do a lot of architectural steel, you're gonna love this thing because it is super ergonomic. It has the mandrel catch here, so it's gonna catch all those little mandrels that come out of the rivet instead of dropping all over the place. If you guys watched my video playlist series way back when I kind of got started on the YouTube at Jimmy DiResta's, he had a standing seam roof, and there's not a screw visible on that entire building. Everything was riveted together, and so I don't know how many hundreds of rivets we used, but I can promise you for about a week after that job, my forearms were killing me, and it's because I used this on every rivet. Now what's cool, this has a 2,000 pound pull force. I don't know really what that means, but that's just a spec in case somebody cares. It does have a tool storage here, so you're able to change the head. It's just an easy screw on, screw off. And if wondering where those additional heads are, it's right here under the battery. You've got this little rubber molded holder that just keeps them in there nice, secure, and you've got your different sizes. It is a little bit of a pain to put back in. There we go. Now, a must for me, because I'm always seem to be up on a roof, up in the air, is a hook. So that'll go nice and secure on your tool belt. That is handy. It doesn't seem overly heavy. I don't know the weight of it, but it's pretty cool. So this is a pretty basic tool. We're not gonna, have a bunch of flash and stuff to talk about, but I figured I'd show it to you, show you in demo, and kind of show you the difference between this and using a hand rivet gun or rivet tool. So let's go ahead and get into that. All right, so some of you might already be asking me, what is a rivet? So a rivet is a fastener used a lot of times when you don't want this big bulky screw head or nail head, and it's got a finished side here that is what you're gonna see, and then you've got the mandrel that gets pulled through the fastener, and what happens is it's got a thicker edge or end on it, so as it pulls through, it expands the rivet and makes it stay in place. So just by the sheer expansion and friction force, that's what it does. So it's pretty simple, not really a whole lot to it. I typically use these 1/8" rivets, so that's all that is. Not a very big rivet because I don't want anybody to see them as least as possible anyway. What you're gonna do, how this works, I'll go ahead and demo it on the hand tool here just so you can get an appreciation when we go show you the battery operated version. So First thing you want to do is you want to make sure you've got the appropriate drill bit size. So I've got an 1/8" rivet. You guessed it, I'm going to use an 1/8" drill bit. This is just a standard piece of fascia trim. We're not doing anything special, just showing the actual operation of the tool. I'm going to go ahead and drill through it with the 1/8" drill bit. Make sure your hand isn't in the way. I've learned that lesson. That was a dumb mistake. But anyway, so now you're going to push the rivet, the backside, through your hole, just like so. And you're gonna take your hand tool gun and the mandrel is gonna get shoved in that hole there. This is a lot easier when you're actually doing it on something stationary. Pushing it down all the way, and then you're gonna start pulling. And what it's doing is it's got like some jaws in there that are grabbing. Yeah, this is a lot easier if I'm on the ground. And you're gonna squeeze it. There, so what it did was it basically kept grabbing that mandrel and pulling it through. There's like some jaws inside, and then you're left with this guy that usually falls out the back or the front and drops on the ground wherever you're working. So that's kind of a pain. You're always having to pick these up. Another thing that I want you to notice is that with a painted fastener, a lot of times this does some damage to the face of that rivet head. So otherwise it's pretty simple. You can see on the back side, it basically opens up this guy here and causes friction, and now that's not going anywhere. And imagine, obviously, if you've got two pieces of steel, it's gonna sandwich them together nice and tight. Let's go ahead and do one with the M12 Rivet Gun, and just to show you how easy it is. Same application, I'm gonna drill my hole. Take my rivet, shove it in there. Take the M12. Obviously, way easier, but more importantly, and this is where it goes to the point that even if you don't have to do a million of these, if you care about quality, look at the difference. We'll get a zoom in shot here. This one here was just done with the Milwaukee. There's like zero, very minimal paint wear. And this one, I tried to be as careful as possible. We got a little bit of paint removed. Otherwise, they do a very similar job. It's not like we're getting a better job out of the Milwaukee, but I think the finished result is a lot cleaner, not to mention easier. All right, I figured it would be a good demo just to show more or less the speed and ease of use between a hand tool and the cordless. So we're just gonna go ahead and drill a bunch of holes, stick a bunch of rivets in there, and then use the two tools and see the drastic difference, in my opinion, between the two. Okay, let's fill them up with some rivets. Now obviously, nobody's gonna actually do this in real life. This is just to show you how quick it can be done. Okay, we'll go ahead and put them in. All right, before I get into this demo, this Stanley actually is very finicky, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a different one. All right, this is kind of an oldie but goodie. I don't even know what brand it is. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Assuming that you could tell how much quicker this was, how much easier it was on me personally. Sometimes when you are straight up and down, these mandrels, obviously, gravity is at work here. It doesn't want to send them up, but you can hear it collects almost all of them. And if you're using this in a vertical manner, you're definitely gonna collect all of them very nicely instead of having these guys fall out wherever you're working, which I can promise you happens and is a pain. So that's just a quick demo on speed, but let's actually join a couple together and maybe more application based on what you would use a rivet gun for. So let's say you've got 2 pieces of metal, whatever that is. This is just some pieces of ridge cap I have. This might not be exactly where I would use the rivet, but it'll get you an idea as to how you can use it to help you. So I've got this piece already secured down with some 1/4-inch screws, which is pretty standard on a metal post frame. But let's go ahead and I'm gonna attach this piece over top of this piece. Okay. So I get them attached, but there's this gap here and you want to secure the metal to metal. Well, you're going to take a rivet or your drill. You're going to put both holes through. Take your rivet. So I purposely made these a little bit scrunched and offset so I could get a visual for you on how this could be applicable. So that's why this is not lining up exactly, but same sort of thing. I mean, you can, nobody's gonna wanna put all these rivets on their ridge cap specifically, but if you're putting 2 pieces of metal on maybe an auto body specific thing, or really just anywhere. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and that's why I love these sorts of tools, is that once you have them, you start thinking, wow, I could use this here, there, and it's gonna just do a really good job, be very efficient. I know there's some of you out there right now that are probably thinking, wow, I really need that because I have to put rivets in all the time. I do believe Milwaukee is, if they aren't they were the only when I got this cordless rivet tool out there on the mainstream. I think there were some off brands that were really expensive at $199. This is actually something that somebody might buy just to have in the shop for that once in a while use. And if you guys think there's some really good uses for this, I'll put a link down below. You can go pick it up. It'll be an affiliate Amazon link, so it does help support me. I get a little kickback from Amazon. I just think it's one of those tools I really have been enjoying out on the job site. I don't use it every day, but when I do, I'm thankful for it. And hopefully you guys learned something, or maybe this was helpful to you. So if you did, if you liked it, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Give me a big thumbs up and drop a comment down below what you think about this tool. And we'll catch you guys on the next Toolsday. Thanks a lot. Dude, you know what, to be honest, like I probably should start using this again, because since I don't work out anymore, my forearms are getting pretty flabby. So if nothing else, it's a good forearm workout.